Still ahead on CBC at 6, aftershocks in Moscow.
The situation is getting curiouser and curiouser every hour.
The People's Congress is still buzzing over the resignation of Foreign Minister Edward Shevardnadze. Sunday is the first anniversary of a tragic rooming house fire in Toronto that left 10 people dead. The Rupert Hotel burned down last December 23rd. Today, friends and relatives gathered at the site to remember the victims, and they renewed a pledge to make sure that kind of tragedy doesn't happen again. It was the worst fire in memory, 2 days before Christmas. When it was over, the Rupert Hotel, an old Toronto rooming house, was destroyed. Faulty fire alarms inside had failed to rouse some of the tenants, and as a result, 10 people died, their bodies found days later.
Let us make sure today that no one died in vain last December 23rd.
Today, friends and relatives came to where the Rupert burned to remember the dead.
Donna King.
And on an old wooden wall surrounding the site of the hotel, they hung a wreath in the name of each victim.
Our song of mourning is turned into a song of justice today. It is that we shall overcome.
Save someone.
The fire sparked a re-examination of rooming houses in Toronto. Safety inspections were stepped up. And while there is more to be done, housing advocates say the government is listening.
I can't say that the actual situation for people has changed, but what we've got is we've got now, after a year, finally, we're in a position where we've got everyone around the table, everyone committed to taking action, and that's a very positive step.
Toronto's mayor pledged again to improve rooming houses across the city.
Well, we've got to get people in charge of rooming houses who care about the tenants, who just don't care about making as much money as they can. It's because when they don't care about the tenants, we have tragedies like this.
I believe that if everybody can get together and do something about the situation instead of scratching their head like what can be done, if they could just get out there and do something, maybe something like this won't happen again and no other families will suffer.
The site of the Rupert has been sitting vacant for the past year. The widow of one victim says she'd like to see something special built here to replace it.
I think that they should build low rental housing for the people who have no homes and dedicate it to the 10 people who died in this fire so that their lives will not have been given in vain.
Members of the Rupert Hotel Coalition say they expect an announcement on new approaches to rooming houses to come from the provincial government within a few weeks. Barbara Turnbull graduated today from the Cronkite School of Journalism at the University of Arizona. 7 years ago, Turnbull was working as a store clerk in Mississauga when she was shot and paralyzed from the neck down. Regina Hickel-Sabo has more on the story of this remarkable young woman. Regina.
Barbara Turnbull is used to overcoming obstacles, and it seems her university career has been no exception. She graduates today with the highest academic honors, magna cum laude. Turnbull's fellow students also elected her to give today's prestigious valedictory address.
I'm pleased to introduce Barbara S. Turnbull.
Barbara Turnbull continues to be a model to disabled and able-bodied people alike. A woman with paralyzed limbs, but a spirit that won't be broken.
I said to a friend of mine the other day, isn't this exciting? Just think, Friday is going to be the first day of the rest of our lives. Actually, he grumbles, I'm looking more at it as the last day of the best of our lives. He was clearly frightened of what lies ahead. Look on the bright side, I told him. At least we don't have to try and park here anymore.
Turnbull spoke eloquently today, encouraging her fellow students to meet the challenges of tomorrow.
Now, more than ever, is a time to believe in ourselves and in our abilities to succeed.
To have survived her ordeal, Barbara Turnbull had to believe in herself. This is the convenience store where Barbara was working the night she was shot. Several young men came in.
She was standing behind the counter. One of them, with a mask pulled over his face, shot her in the neck. They took $180 from the till and left Barbara in a pool of her own blood on the floor. Then they went to a nearby Mississauga discotheque to celebrate the heist with champagne.
4 men were charged with robbery and attempted murder. 2 of them have since been sent back to Jamaica. two remain in custody until next year. Barbara's ordeal drew tremendous support. A fund was set up. Several $100,000 were raised for her. Today, with her twin hallmarks of optimism and determination, Barbara Turnbull urged students to go forward.
Today marks one great achievement. We should enjoy it, then let the next one begin. Thank you.
And now that she's graduated, Barbara Turnbull plans to come back to Toronto to pursue a career in journalism. Paul?
Thank you, Regina.
You're welcome.
The RCMP has seized 240 kilograms of cocaine with a street value of $100 million. They made the bust yesterday afternoon in Toronto's East End. Police say they were tipped off by U.S. Customs and Drug Enforcement officials after a truckload of Colombian coffee beans left New York for Toronto.
Our agents located a container with approximately 250 bags of coffee beans situated on the docks of New York. Subsequently, this container was taken to Toronto, where the seizure was made.
6 of those bags contained cocaine concealed in rectangular packages. Police say the drug, which is 90% pure, was to be picked up by high-level Toronto traffickers. No arrests have been made following the discovery. A group of Toronto tenants lost a court battle today against an eviction notice. City Home, a non-profit housing agency, wants to demolish the building to create more affordable housing. Today's ruling has left the tenants trying to figure out their next move to save their homes. Lauren Madelon reports.
How long have you lived here anyway? Almost 9 years.
Pending an appeal, Michael Capel is spending his last Christmas here at 102 Tyndall in Toronto's West End. It's a peaceful place. Capel and a handful of tenants who've been fighting the eviction notice want to stay, citing the charm of a building built at the turn of the century.
Well, that's the thing. You don't find the detail of this also.
But the city has another plan, as Capel and the other tenants heard at the courthouse today. Demolish 102, spend $8.5 million, and build another complex with 54 units, an increase of 30 units, though rents in some cases would increase by hundreds of dollars a month. But the court said no to the tenants, and tenant leader Susan Feldman is wondering why.
Is the province willing to spend $8.5 million of taxpayers' money during a recession to add 30 more units? I don't understand how they could justify that.
For their part, City Home officials say the expenditure is justified at any time, particularly now in view of the City of Toronto's dwindling affordable housing stock.
Are they going to be kicked out tomorrow, sir?
Not at all. There was never any intention. I never had instructions to proceed with this in a rush. This was never intended to be proceeded with. Probably not. The earliest would be the middle of January.
Tenants have not yet decided on their next move. They have two choices: move at the city's expense to another City Home building, or stay and appeal, which freezes the process for at least 6 months. City Home's manager acknowledges the tenants wanted to spend their own money to upgrade 102.
But the age of the building and the substandard condition of the building works against that. And as a result, we're faced at this point in time with redeveloping the site.
This case featured a classic clash of ideals. The concerns of a group of tenants who wanted to preserve what they believed was an irreplaceable lifestyle, squaring off against city's perceived notion of the greater good. City Home wants to tear down the building to create a total of 30 more units of affordable housing. And now they have the legal permission to go ahead. Lauren Madelon, CBC News, Toronto.
Hundreds of disappointed travelers are crowded into Pearson International Airport tonight. Bad weather and heavy fog have resulted in long delays and some cancellations.
I'm not sure. Some of the flights are delayed. Yeah. Is it up there? I can't turn around right now.
This is one of the busiest days of the year at Pearson. More than 75,000 people are expected to move through the airport. Fog has made the usual crush much, much worse.
But since, I guess, lunchtime or so, the fog has really settled in here at the airport. We're down to one runway, and we're using an instrument landing system on that. So instead of our normal average of 70, 76 flights per hour, which is our maximum, we're down to less than half capacity.
Passengers were upset and concerned over the long delays. Many were worried about making it home in time for Christmas. The weather is expected to get worse, and more delays are possible throughout the weekend. Transport Canada is strongly advising people to call for information on their flight before going to the airport. The controversy over the cancellation of the Red Hill Creek Expressway in Hamilton continues. This week, the NDP government pulled the plug on funding for the highway because of environmental concerns. Today, the mayor of Hamilton, Bob Morrow, took his concerns to Premier Bob Rae. Two businessmen from the Steel City didn't get to meet the Premier, but they still managed to make their point. The general contractors arrived at the legislature armed with several loads of manure for Premier Bob Rae.
What do you think the Premier's going to think of you dumping shit on his front steps?
That's what he's dumped on our front steps, and that's what goes on in this place.
Whidden said that he hoped the protest would bring attention to the cancellation of the highway. He says the move will cost jobs in Hamilton and goes against 20 years of city planning. But police prevented him from bringing the manure to the Premier.
Every right to walk up to these front steps, considering that we paid for the front steps.
After a few minutes, Whidden was allowed in, but without his load.
Somebody's going to come down. I don't know who it is.
That somebody wasn't Bob Rae. He was tied up at a Christmas party down the hall.
Can I help you, sir?
I'm here to protest the cancellation of the Red Hill Valley Expressway, and I'd like to see Mr. Rae.
Mr. Rae has got appointments all day today. He's also meeting with Mayor Morrow this afternoon, the mayor of Hamilton. So if you want to give me your concerns, I will make sure that they're conveyed to the Premier.
Whidden ended the protest with a warning.
Mr. Rae should make a point of getting back to us, because if he doesn't do it promptly, then we'll make this a weekly event.
The effects of the recession continue to hit Ontario hard. Hundreds of plants and factories have closed this year. Ottawa says business bankruptcies are up by 71% compared to 1989, and manufacturing is being hit the hardest. In one community near Kitchener, a plant closure has left the whole entire families unemployed, and Ron Azawa has that story.
These people used to work for Dealcraft Furniture. It was owned by the same people who currently own this company, Barrymore Furniture in Toronto. The plant that these people used to work at closed this past summer.
It's Christmas. It's going to be a really skimpy Christmas at my house this year, and there's just nothing I can do.
There's got to be something done to protect the workers, and especially in small towns like I have.
For almost a century, the people of Milverton counted on the furniture factory for employment. Since 1912, it's been the major employer. Owned first by the Hondrick family, later by Electrohome. Then, 3 years ago, it was bought by a group of investors headed by two brothers from Toronto, Tom and Brian Callahan.
I worked there, my wife worked there, my father-in-law worked there, and my uncle worked there.
110 jobs were lost in Milverton. Since there are only 1,600 people in the entire village, people here point out that it's equivalent to losing 100,000 jobs in Toronto, and losing jobs in the worst way.
They're left without holiday pay, severance pay, back pay, or benefits. And on top of that, they had to pay up what benefits they had used in the last month. They'd have to pay that up themselves.
The workers are just one of a list of almost 400 creditors owed money. At least $17.5 million is owed to creditors, most of which will never be seen. When Tom and Brian Callahan bought the plant, there was a lot of fanfare. They got $300,000 from the government. When they took over, they divided Dealcraft into 4 separate companies. It's perfectly legal, but in the event of bankruptcy, it means that there is no place for creditors to go to recoup their money.
How we got into such bad financial problems, I don't know.
Juanita Nolan handled the payroll.
When we're faced with bankruptcy, and we're told at that point that we can't recoup our losses because the company that owns the land and the building, we can't fall back on them. It was a shock to everybody. It really was.
Left without jobs and money, not only is the future of workers in jeopardy, the future of the whole town now hangs in the balance.
It's really hard to believe that it's even happened, for me and for a lot of other people.
The union is suing Tom Callahan personally for $750,000 in severance and back pay. The Ontario Federation of Labour calls this bankruptcy a worst-case scenario. The Reeve here says the town may never recover. But the workers say they're determined to fight back and win. The workers are also trying to get government money to start a small business in the abandoned Dealcraft building.
I want Milverton to take control of their own interest because they've been kicked around by big business enough.
While employees struggle to start their own business and save their town, their local MPP says she's hoping the new provincial government will help Milverton and its people and prevent this kind of story from repeating itself.
Everybody's hurting, except the guy who declared bankruptcy and walked away and left it sitting in a small town like that.
The Callahan brothers would not comment on the situation in Milverton. The Ontario government is proposing to set up a fund to help victims of bankruptcies, but it will be too late for these workers. Ron Ozawa, CBC News, Toronto.
Bill Lawrence is waiting outside with an early look at the weekend weather. Hi, Bill.
Damp. Damp's the word we want to begin with tonight there, Paul. As a matter of fact, we are on the last few hours, of fall. 10:07 tonight is when winter first arrives. And, of course, today is the darkest day, the least number of daylight hours, about 8 hours and 55 minutes of daylight. We didn't see much of that today. And while tomorrow may be the first full day of winter, it's going to appear more like a day in spring. We are looking at temperatures across southern Ontario tomorrow 3 to 4 degrees higher than those of today, and continuing rain. As a matter of fact, if the rain that is falling now and is expected to fall tomorrow were snow, we'd be up to our knees almost in the white stuff. But such is not the case. The temperature rising means that the precipitation will stay in the form of rain. Here's the way the forecast shapes up. For southwestern Ontario tonight, rain and extensive fog. We expect this fog to increase overnight, and we expect visibility to be reduced to about 1/2 a kilometer. The temperature will stay just about where it's been all day for London and for Windsor, 7 to 8 degrees. The rain continues tomorrow till about midday and then gradually tapers off to a few showers. The winds will be very strong out of the south tomorrow, gusting at about 40 kilometers an hour. Now for the Toronto area, also some rain, a chance of a thunderstorm this evening, the overnight low, about where the temperature's been all day, not far from 6 degrees. Rain continuing again tomorrow. There's tomorrow's high, not far from 10. And again, I suggest that the visibility is going to be severely reduced, particularly from London eastward overnight. We'll be back in a bit. We'll look at the west. It is still very cold. Wind chills running around -50 this afternoon. We'll also check the weather for the ride of Rudolph and, of course, his friend, S. Claus.
Thank you, Bill. The Christmas holiday officially began already for thousands of children today as school let out. And as Bill Harrington reports, with just 3 days until Christmas, the students are already celebrating the festive season.
Celebrating Jesus' birthday and giving presents and singing songs and having candlelight dinners.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Celebration replaced studies in most schools today, the last day before the Christmas break. At the School of the Canadian Martyrs in East York, Madame Parisian led students in a French carol fest.
The helicopter and the reindeer are pulling.
Olivia Cruz read Christmas stories to her class.
And what did you want for Christmas?
5-year-old Lauren Fitzgerald couldn't think of a thing to ask Santa for until she saw her picture was being taken. Then she realized that's exactly what she wants. Other students proudly display the ornaments and cards they have made in class and told us what the big day is all about.
Celebrating Jesus' birthday and having turkey dinners and all the presents.
And Christmas is having fun. That's why these kids are dancing. Bill Harrington, CBC News, in the frenzy of the Christmas season.
Coming up on CBC at 6, waves of Jewish immigrants flood out of Eastern Europe after the resignation of Edward Shevardnadze.
Quality. It's something most people demand when buying produce. But high prices can make people question its value. Isn't it refreshing to know there's a place where quality and price come together to provide real value? At Elias...
Hey, guys, fellas, lady!
At Elias Fruit Markets, it's a simple formula, nothing fancy, just real value delivered fresh every day. Elias Fruit Markets, we keep it simple. Who was that?
The baby in this picture is going to have a very special year. A year of first steps, first words, first birthday. And none of these firsts will ever happen again. Now, if you were this baby's parents, which film would you choose? No other film in the world gives you purer, richer colors than Kodacolor Gold film. Aren't your pictures worth gold?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Ebenezer Scrooge.
Oh, I like Christmas. Just not all the money people spend on gifts. So this year I've seen to it that gifts are priced so low, even I'd buy them.
Ebenezer.
Scrooge-approved prices. Only at Canadian Tire.
Scrooge-approved prices.
It's my little gift to everyone.
What a nice gift, Ebenezer.
Yes, doesn't cost me a cent.
Canadian Tire lets you give like Santa and save like Scrooge.
Christmas is a wonderfully special time of year, a time you can be with family and friends and enjoy the best of the season. And Christmas is a time when each Shoppers Drug Mart is filled with special savings on everything you need to make your holidays festive, healthy, and affordable. Okay, plug them in. Hey, there's only room for one star on this tree.
Starting Wednesday, December 19th, and for the remainder of the week, only one store wraps it up right with special brand name savings. Zellers has 40% off all their brand name bras. Famous names like Wonder Bra, Warner's, Daisy Fresh, Playtex, and Vogue. Brand name bras at 40% off, and you get free valuable Club Z points too. Zellers is the store with a spirit of savings.
Zellers wraps it up right, where the lowest price is the law.
Have you heard about Gus Revenberg?
What's he up to now?
He isn't. He's down.
Down?
Yes, down to 10.9% financing.
10.9?
That's right, 10.9% on his complete line of GM cars and trucks.
Only selected models?
No, every new Pontiac, Buick, and GMC truck is yours with comfortable 10.9% financing. The entire new inventory at Gus Revenberg's is now available with financing that's down to 10.9%.
That Gus Revenberg, he's always down to something good.
Gus Revenberg, Tecumseh at Forest Glade.
The Israeli government has ordered all available planes be ready for the immediate evacuation of Soviet Jews from Eastern Europe. The order was given amid rising fears of turmoil in the Soviet Union. Those fears were heightened yesterday by the surprise resignation of Soviet Foreign Minister Eduard Shevardnadze. In the last 24 hours, about 2,500 Soviet Jews have arrived in Israel. With the new order from the Israeli government, the pace of the immigration is expected to quicken. Under the increasingly liberal immigration policies of Mikhail Gorbachev, more than 180,000 Soviets have been allowed to leave for Israel since January. Meanwhile, a top aide to Mikhail Gorbachev believes Eduard Shevardnadze will stay on as part of the president's team in spite of his resignation. In Moscow today, Shevardnadze's decision continued to dominate the Congress of People's Deputies. Don Murray reports.
As Soviet deputies arrived at the Congress session this morning, reverberations from the shock resignation of Shevardnadze were still being felt. Inside the hall, a conscious attempt was made to proceed with business as usual. But the radical mayor of Leningrad, Anatoly Sobchak, spoke for many reformers when he said Shevardnadze's warning of coming dictatorship should not be downplayed.
People have stopped believing in the possibility of resolving problems in a democratic way. But think about it properly. If that is so, dictatorship is all that remains.
Yesterday's news continued to dominate today's proceedings, leaving deputies as perplexed as outsiders.
The situation is getting curiouser and curiouser every hour.
Only the military establishment seemed relaxed. The Soviet chief of staff said no military dictatorship was to be feared, but fear remained among many.
They have consolidated. Those forces, they have consolidated themselves. And this is very, very dangerous to democracy.
In the streets of Moscow, the mood was equally confused and divided over Shevardnadze and the future.
He's a good guy. I like his politics.
I don't consider him to be a normal person.
He was the right man for the job.
Let's go back to Stalin.
The departure of Eduard Shevardnadze is a blow the Kremlin is now consciously trying to soften. One Gorbachev aide today said his participation as an advisor in a new government couldn't be ruled out. That new government could be announced as early as next week. Don Murray, CBC News, Moscow.
Christmas will be celebrated all over the Soviet Union this year in churches. The state, which once closed places of worship, is now handing the buildings back to the people. And as Justin Webb of the BBC reports, the rush is on to restore the churches to their original splendor.
Turn your eyes to the skyline in any Russian city, and behold,
the preparations for a new age of religious belief. Even during the darkest days of persecution, church buildings were not destroyed. This one on the outskirts of Moscow became a machine tool factory and, for the time being, still is. Inside, there's a shrine of sorts to a prophet who failed to survive the test of time. He, along with the machine tools, will be moving out soon. Downstairs in the basement, a counter-revolution is underway. Church business is being conducted for the first time since 1917. The damage done by secular life is being patched up by volunteers. It'll take time, but the will is there and the determination to rebuild and repossess. 73 years after commandeering the building, the state is saying, take it back and do with it what you will. Already the trappings of the Russian Orthodox faith are being stored ready for the first service. The candle holders are sprayed metal rather than bronze, but these are the compromises that have to be made in the dash to reopen. And it is a dash. Across town, another church, closed by Stalin, was reopened 3 months ago. It's been used as a workshop, a hostel, a potato store, a chemical laboratory, and a music hall. Now all is serene once again. But such is the pressure from the newly religious that it's had to open long before the transformation is complete. The specialist painters work as fast as they can. When this job is finished, there'll be plenty more around the city, restoring beauty and mystery to buildings where both had been lost. On Sunday, the painters rest, and the new generation of churchgoers come to the special children's event. For some, the lengthy Orthodox service is heavy-going. But for most children, as for their parents, it's an opportunity to be transported to a world far removed from the drudgery of daily Soviet life. In churches, wherever they can, Russians are looking for escape from the awfulness of their worldly predicament, and some, at least, are finding inner peace. Justin Webb, BBC News, Moscow.
Tens of thousands of Romanians marked the anniversary of last year's bloody revolution today. More than 20,000 people gathered in Bucharest's University Square, where the first victims of the uprising fell. But the ceremony quickly turned into an anti-government protest. The demonstrators demanded the immediate resignation of Ion Iliescu and his ruling National Salvation Front government. The front replaced the Ceausescu regime. But the country's economic woes have only worsened, and there have been constant rumors that the new government is dominated by communists with ties to Ceausescu. Still to come on CBC at 6, a special guest star on this year's version of the Nutcrackers. Stu Patterson, take it away.
Thanks, Paul. That's right. This year's special Christmas treat just ahead, live on CBC at 6.
If your car or light truck has an exhausted exhaust system, your Essex County GM dealer's service special offers the solution. Included is a new muffler, front pipe, tailpipe, clamps, labor, and a lifetime muffler warranty. Sample price only $139.95. Another Essex County GM dealer's service special featuring genuine GM parts, the expert choice. See Rayom Chev Olds Windsor, Bill Howitt Pontiac Buick Windsor, and Kennedy Chev Olds Amherstburg.
When I look like this, my guys challenge me to lose 20 pounds. Me, Tommy Lasorda, the guy who loves to eat. Well, I lost 30 pounds in 3 months with the Ultra Slim Fast weight loss plan. It was easy. I had a delicious shake for breakfast, one for lunch, and then a wholesome dinner. And I didn't feel hungry. The pounds dropped off. Isn't that great? You know, this is the first time I ever lost anything and felt good about it.
Ultra Slim Fast. Give us a week. We'll help you lose weight.
You know, I have to confess, I find you irresistible. Sometimes you're delicate and tantalizing. Other times, you're warm and passionate. And anywhere, anytime, you're a terrific charmer. And so...
Al dente.
It's
made in Italy.
And that's what I love about it.
Pasta made in Italy. True love.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Ebenezer Scrooge. Oh, I like Christmas. Just not all the money people spend on gifts. So this year I've seen to it that gifts are priced so low, even I'd buy them. Ebenezer. Scrooge-approved prices. Only at Canadian Tire. Scrooge-approved prices? It's my little gift to everyone. What a nice gift, Ebenezer. Yes, doesn't cost me a cent.
Canadian Tire lets you give like Santa and save like Scrooge.
I don't want to grow up, don't want to grow up. I don't want to grow up, don't want to grow up. I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. There's a million toys at Toys R Us that I can play with.
The Nintendo Action Set includes control deck, controllers, light gun, and double game pack, $138.84, monitor not included. Choose from hits such as Final Fantasy $69.87, Super Mario Bros. 3 $69.98, or Dr. Mario $49.78 at Toys R Us.
I want to be a Toys R Us kid.
For kindling the fire of hospitality. Valente Real Estate and its staff wish you all the blessings of this holy season. Have a warm and cozy Christmas filled with the cheer of good friends and the joy of loved ones. May you have a happy and healthy holiday season.
Join Kathy Cookson and the Valente Home Showcase Sunday mornings at 9:30, beginning January 6th.
Hi, I'm Stu Patterson for Vacationing Beth Harrington tonight. The Nutcracker has become a treasured holiday event for audiences. But as I found out, it's no easy task for the actors.
For 27 years, the Nutcracker has delighted generations of dance fans. The holiday classic has been seen by 1 million people. It offers all kinds of delightful pas de deux. Cookies come alive to tangle with mice. Little girls dance with toy soldiers. Dreams come true right here on stage. The crew of 120 will have done 25 performances by the end of the run. You know, you need a lot of energy and discipline to make all this magic.
They give you corrections if you, like when you, after the performances, and you have to correct them, and it's hard sometimes to act the way they want you to act, but it's mostly really fun.
Truer words were never spoken. Example. See the performers carrying the stretcher? Well, that scene particularly required discipline and intense rehearsal.
One time, one lifted much earlier than the other, and the cookie slid right off, like off a cookie sheet.
So there have been disasters. Okay.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Then to the stage to work out the kinks.
Whoops. Up. Sorry. Yeah. No, it's all right. You won't be sitting on her. That's okay.
Then the transformation of a regular guy into a stretcher bearer. Back to the stage now. So the cookie falls. Here we come. I'm worried about my back. Will I drop Cookie Lorraine Hadger? I'm a little nervous. She's kind of heavy. Whoops, my knee is showing. Never did get it covered. Now the fake argument. And we're away. It went well. What the audience didn't see was that we dropped our cookie on the floor when we arrived behind the curtain. They told me not to give up my day job. You can catch the rest of my fellow performers at the O'Keefe for the next 2 weeks.
And there's word tonight that principal dancer Karen Kane has hurt her foot and will not appear on stage until she recovers. Kimberly Glasgow, she'll take over as the Snow Queen and Sugar Plum Fairy. And that's our look at entertainment tonight. Have a super weekend, a wonderful Christmas. Let's check a couple of things happening tonight.
Coming up on CBC at 6, a new plan by Windsor Area Police has people squealing on drunk drivers.
The Becker store called in about a woman who was driving and appeared to be impaired. That woman was apprehended and was subsequently charged with impaired driving.
Starting Wednesday, December 19th, and for the remainder of the week, only one store wraps ladies up right for the night with special savings. Zellers has 1/3 off a wide selection of fall and winter ladies' lounge and sleepwear, robes to cuddle up in, pajamas to be cozy in, and teddies and peignoir sets to dream the night away in. At the one store that wraps it up right with free valuable Club Z points, Zellers.
Zellers wraps it up right, where the lowest price is the law.
Energy and you. Hints on using energy more wisely. Your furnace uses over 10% of your home's electricity, so keep it clean and in peak working condition. A suggestion from the Ontario Ministry of Energy.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Ebenezer Scrooge.
Oh, I like Christmas. Just not all the money people spend on gifts. So this year I've seen to it that gifts are priced so low, even I'd buy them.
Ebenezer.
Scrooge-approved prices. Only at Canadian Tire.
Scrooge-approved prices.
It's my little gift to everyone.
What a nice gift, Ebenezer.
Yes, doesn't cost me a cent.
Canadian Tire lets you give like Santa and save like Scrooge.
E5 presents Pro Hockey Funnies, a hilarious look at some of the NHL's not-so-brightest moments. From hockey's hardest checks to its most ridiculous moments. This is definitely not what it takes to become a hockey legend. Pro Hockey Funnies is board-busting, high-flying hockey hilarity at its absolute funniest. If you like mayhem, you'll love this action. Even the unflappable refs sometimes get caught in embarrassing positions. You'll see some of the weirdest goals, and the greatest saves, and hockey's worst practical jokes. Pro Hockey Funnies is bell ringers and humdingers. It's the world's toughest game, especially if you play it like this. Take time out for Pro Hockey Funnies. Also ask for Boxing Wars, Super Bowl of Crashes, Smash and Crash and Sports Action, Roller Derby Wars, or Dynamite on Ice. Your choice, only $19.99 from K5.
Available at the Bay, Zellers, Wilco Woolworth, Kresge Kmart, participating Canadian Tire, Sam the Record Man.
Season's greetings and the very best for the holiday season.
Liberal leader Jean Chrétien was sworn in today as a member of the House of Commons. Chrétien is representing a riding in New Brunswick. He won a by-election there earlier this month. Chrétien will take his seat almost 5 years to the day that he left the Commons to join an Ottawa law firm. Also sworn in today as new Liberal MP was Maurizio Bevilacqua. He represents the riding of York North, just northwest of Metro. Prime Minister Brian Mulroney today named Frank Iacobucci to the Supreme Court of Canada. He will replace Bertha Wilson when she retires in January. Iacobucci is the Chief Justice of the Federal Court. He has worked as a senior bureaucrat in Ottawa and was a law professor at the University of Toronto. Legal experts praised Mulroney's appointments, but women's groups are angry that he did not name another woman to replace Wilson. Once she retires, there will be only 2 women on the 9-member Supreme Court. Police in Windsor are getting some help keeping drunk drivers off the road during the holiday season. Todd Lozon reports.
Martin Wells is helping the OPP catch drunk drivers. He and more than 100 other business people in southwestern Ontario have agreed to report drivers who come into their stores drunk.
I had a friend of mine who was just in a very major accident, and there is a very good possibility that the gentleman who hit him was drinking. I almost lost my buddy. I don't want anybody else to go through what I went through.
I stand for... Calls through the Stay Alert program come here to the District Communications Center. Informants report license plate numbers and a description of the car. The dispatchers send out a cruiser.
We had one last weekend where an employee from a Becker store called in about a woman who was driving and appeared to be impaired. That woman was apprehended and was subsequently charged with impaired driving.
They're easy to spot.
The program has the full support of Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. Lily and Peg's son, Gary, was killed in a motorcycle crash 9 years ago. The man who hit him was drunk.
It's got to stop. It'll never stop completely, but at least if we can slow it down and get people thinking a little more seriously. My God, if I go into that store, somebody in there's going to know that I've been drinking. They're going to smell it. They'll call the cops on me.
Stay Alert was only intended to run through Christmas. Police now say they'll keep it going right through the summer. Todd Lozon, CBC News, Chatham.
There it is, Canada with a big ribbon on it as we move into the Christmas weekend. Record-breaking cold still out in British Columbia and across the prairies. Cold with temperatures again. Wind chill factors running around minus 50 degrees. Here in the south, it's warm. It's more like spring. Let's have a look at our map for tonight, and we'll find our friends, the highs, the two of them. One located, there it is, over Sable Island, and around it we have a southerly to southeasterly flow. Very mild air. Temperatures 6, 7, 8, 10 degrees above normal for this time of year. You can see that warm air mass just pushing towards the Ottawa Valley. It is not into the valley yet, but along that line we have a freezing rain warning in effect for Renfrew and for much of the nation's capital tonight. The other high, there it sits now over the Manitoba Lakes. In advance of it, this northwesterly to northerly flow, bitterly cold air from the Arctic, pushing deep into the heartland of the United States. Snow at Phoenix this afternoon. The leading edge of this cold air mass, the cold front, there it is, just pushing slowly eastward towards the lower lakes region. It will go across southern Ontario tomorrow night and drop our temperature about 15 degrees in about 12 hours. To the north, we have a winter warning in effect for much of Timmins and Kapuskasing area. They can expect up to 25 centimeters of snow in the next 12 hours. We in southern Ontario, the last few hours of heat tomorrow, and then cold as we head into the days of Christmas. Let's have a look at the province today. Into the Ottawa Valley, freezing rain, as I mentioned, that continues. The warning still in effect. The overnight low, or the high today at minus 3 degrees. Rain around Sudbury and North Bay at 2. Light snow at Timmins. That increases up to 20 centimeters overnight. The mid-afternoon temperature at Timmins, minus 12 degrees. Partly cloudy at Thunder Bay, minus 17. Kenora, snow in that area, minus 25 degrees. Across the Lower Lakes region, rain in most areas today. Thunderstorms reported at Toronto, Trenton, and at Oakville. Temperatures ranging from 9 at Windsor to about 6 at Toronto. The forecast then overnight, the rain continues, punctuated by thunderstorms in the southwest. Temperatures around 7 to 8 degrees. Fog patches in the Windsor area, extensive fog from there eastward into the Toronto region. Toronto's low, 6 degrees. The normal low is minus 7. Rain continues across southern Ontario, ending at about midday tomorrow, and then tomorrow night the cold air comes in. Sunday morning, temperature minus 7 degrees. Monday, Christmas Eve, cloudy, the overnight low. Watch this one, Rudolph, minus 12 degrees, the high minus 6. And then for Tuesday, a cloudy day for Christmas, and temperatures not far from minus 8. So here in the south, we stay warm tonight, warm tomorrow, and then head into a chilly but very happy Christmas.
Thanks, Bill. This is CBC at 6. Coming up, Bruce and tons of sports.
What are you smiling about that weather, Paul? Yes, NHL superstars, present and future, Wayne Gretzky and Eric Lindros meet in Calgary.
He's a big man. He's got good hands, and you know, I'm sure he'll do very well in this league.
Putting off buying that one piece of furniture you really need?
How's the book, hon?
Fine.
Announcing Leon's Don't Pay a Cent event.
Now Buster gets.
Everything you need for your home for no money down, no interest, and no payment till May 1991.
I'll get it.
Leon's Don't Pay a Cent event. Now what are you waiting for?
Have you got any fives? Go and fish.
Cruising with Cooks in the Southern Caribbean this fall and winter on the world's newest ship sailing from San Juan is really something special. And so is the price. For under $1,000, including airfare, you can enjoy the luxurious new cruise ship Horizon. We'll visit San Juan, Martinique, Barbados, St. Lucia, Antigua, and St. Thomas. Book now and save $350 per cabin. Contact Cooks Travel, Leamington, or Windsor. U.S. clients call toll-free 1-800-265-3636.
K5 International presents Christmas Cartoons, a delightful new home video. Imagine over 3 full hours of animated magic designed to help kids while away those long winter afternoons. Christmas Cartoons, specially selected animated classics to amuse and entertain your little ones during the holiday season. Christmas Cartoons, 3 hours of family fun for only $19.99 from K5.
At the Bay, Zellers, Wolka Woolworth, Kresge Kmart, Canadian Tire, Sam the Record Man.
Starting Wednesday, December 19th, and for the remainder of the week, only one store wraps it up right with special brand name savings. Zellers has 40% off all their brand name bras. Famous names like Wonder Bra, Warner's, Daisy Fresh, Playtex, and Vogue. Brand name bras at 40% off, and you get free valuable Club Z points too. Zellers is the store with a spirit of savings.
Zellers wraps it up right, where the lowest price is the law.
'Tis the season to stop into your neighborhood Tim Hortons and pick up fresh baking for the holidays.
You've always got time for Tim Hortons. No one says no to teas like this. It's our round-the-clock freshness, round-the-clock freshness. Always got time for Tim Hortons.
This holiday season,
Christmas is a special time for family and friends, and it's a time when Shoppers Drug Mart helps to make your holidays festive and affordable. Right now, get this elegant silver-plated and brass picture frame free with a minimum $30 purchase of cosmetics or fragrances.
Okay, plug them in.
Hey, get that beaver away from the ladder.
And the attention of most hockey fans over the holidays will be towards Saskatoon, where the World Junior Hockey Championships are being played. Canada being led there by the hockey prodigy Eric Lindros. And if there's anybody who knows what Lindros is going through, it's the great one himself, Wayne Gretzky.
It's been a long while since there's been so much hype about a junior player, but Eric Lindros is a very special talent. Playing with Oshawa, he's leading the Ontario League in scoring this year. 6'4", 223 pounds, and he's only 17 years old. He will be the first pick in next year's NHL draft. Right now, he's with the national junior team, training for the World Championship in Saskatoon just after Christmas. And of course, a lot is expected of him. It seems like everybody in hockey's talking about you. You're interviewed everywhere you go. Is that pretty tough to deal with sometimes?
A little bit, but you just got to keep in focus. You're just one of the 22 members of the club here, and our job is to win or do as best as we can in this tournament, and that's all I'm here for.
If anybody knows what it's like to be the center of attention, it's Wayne Gretzky. He can relate to Eric Lindros. Have you seen him play at all?
No, I've never seen him play. I came to watch him practice yesterday, and as they say, he's a big man. He's got good hands, and I'm sure he'll do very well in this league.
Gretzky and Lindros have met just once and really didn't have much of a chance to talk. But Gretzky knows Lindros is going to have to face increasing pressures and demands.
Believe me, it's just the tip of the iceberg coming out of junior. He's only seen a little bit of what's ahead of him. He hasn't even really hit the U.S. markets, like as far as PR goes, New York and California and Chicago. He's extremely strong in popularity throughout Canada. And all of a sudden you're going to be dealing with 10 times as many people. And it becomes difficult. And I guess the biggest thing is to realize and understand that your focus has to stay on your priority, and your priority is the game of hockey. And as long as he does that, he'll do fine.
And as this is my final day before the Christmas holidays, time for our annual sporting tradition, the 12 Days of Christmas. Merry Christmas to one and all. Back to you, Paul.
What do I say after that? Updating tonight's top story, Iraq and the U.S. appear to be on a collision course for war in the Persian Gulf. In an interview on German television, Saddam Hussein said that Iraq will not withdraw from Kuwait by the UN deadline of January 15th. The Iraqi leader also warned that if it does come to war, Allah will be on the side of Iraq. But the U.S. is also talking tough. In Saudi Arabia, U.S. Defense Secretary Dick Cheney said that it looks increasingly like war will be necessary to drive Iraq from Kuwait. That's CBC at 6 for Friday, December 21st and the week. Thanks for watching. We'll leave you tonight with a Christmas message from the Mendelssohn Youth Choir of Toronto. I'm Paul Hunter. Have a great weekend.